My name's, for those that don't know me, I think everyone knows me a bit, but my name's Andrew. I recently re-elected as the Vice President. Yay.
There's elections.
Missed the vote, upset.
I'm working
I
on.
could have moved you up the list.
I'm working on proxy and mail votes. So,
Did you have to conduct your own secret ballot? Did you kind of hide from yourself?
well, see the way it goes is I walk into the room, they go Vice President, like accept nomination. They go Vice President. Everyone goes Andrew. Anyone opposed? No. Okay. So basically we've got Justice Greg Gard here. He's my father, obviously. Very easy to get a speaker when you know him. So. But he's just going to give, like, I was hoping we'd have a few younger families and stuff here. But basically, it's a bit of a story about his and my mother's perspective on hydro and growing up with hydro. So, all right, well, welcome. And we'll look forward to hearing from you.
Well, thanks, Andrew. I don't think I've ever been welcomed by someone quite as close, so it's an absolute delight to be here. And this is Andrew's story. This is what happened to Andrew, and as parents who were totally ignorant about hydro, what happened as far as we were concerned. Andrew was born on the 29th of April 1980, and this is part of his story over 34 years. He was a large baby. That's not surprising when you see it.
So it wasn't just your head.
10 pounds, 3 ounces, and born with a largish head. And this we didn't view as surprising because many members of the family have largish heads. Following his birth, he had regular checkups with the local baby health centre and monthly checkups with the paediatrician, as he was born by a caesarean operation. At 2.5 months, he wouldn't settle with constant crying. When aged 3 months, the baby health centre nurse measured his head and stated that it was noticeably large. His mother, Chris, noticed blotches on his face and heat rash. The baby health centre nurse referred him back to the paediatrician. Until this occurred, the paediatrician did not consider that anything was out of place. The paediatrician then confirmed his head was too large and referred Andrew for an immediate CT scan. The scan confirmed that Andrew had hydrocephalus. A neurosurgeon, Mr. Geoffrey Clark, operated on Andrew the next day at the Royal Children's Hospital. Andrew was in hospital for about 5 days. Chris wanted to be near her baby, and the Royal Children's Hospital had no facility for parents to stay in those days. Chris booked into a motel opposite the hospital. There was an older child also in hospital with severe brain damage. Although the nurse advised that Andrew wouldn't be brain damaged as much, we were very worried. Andrew went into the operating theatre with blotchy skin and heat rash. When he returned, the blotches and redness were gone due to the fluid pressure being reduced. The shunt, which was installed at 3 months, was very successful. His head remained large, but the fluid pressure was gone. The rest of the body caught up with the head over time. After the operation, Andrew was a much happier baby. Hydrocephalus resulted in a number of special consequences. His sense of smell was heightened. The depth of his visual field was affected. He took a little longer to learn to walk and ride a bike, but only about 6 months more than the average. He took a little longer with reading. He didn't read well until he was about 8 years old. The turning point in his reading was an Albie Mangles TV program which he liked. Albie Mangles produced a series on world safaris which became a book. Andrew is a first-rate reader now and enjoys a wide range of literature. He has difficulty adding up by way of mental arithmetic and mathematical concepts do not have a lot of meaning, but this is also the case for many people in the community. Mental arithmetic doesn't matter anymore, as calculators and computers are much better at it than humans. As a boy, Andrew's eye-hand coordination was not good due to the depth of his visual field, so he wasn't able to tell the distance of an approaching ball. This caused difficulty with sport at school, and because of his shunt, he was not able to play any contact sports. As a result, he tended to get bullied a lot at school, as the boys did not understand why he was not able to catch a throw of the ball. On one occasion, a boy threw a cricket ball at him, which he was not able to catch. This resulted in a broken nose. However, Andrew did not let his sporting house down. He contributed to team sports by helping out with scoring at the games, which gained points for his house. He also undertook scouting and assisted younger boys at the school. In Year 7, now aged 12, Andrew suffered from severe headaches. His GP referred him for a CT scan, which disclosed that his intracranial ventricles, where fluid is naturally stored, were at a normal size. At first this appeared to be the right result, but a visit to the neurosurgeon, Mr. Clark, identified that this was the wrong result, as the shunt reduces the fluid in ventricle space and the cavity should be smaller than normal. What had happened was that Andrew had grown tall and outgrown the length of the tube inserted with his shunt when aged 3 months. The tube had detached from the shunt. In the review, a new tube was inserted over his shoulder down to his stomach. The previous tube went down his back to his stomach. The tubes created some scar tissue, and the new tube was uncomfortable because of its location over his shoulder. Despite this, Andrew had no significant problems from the age of 12 until he reached 32. This was an excellent outcome, with only 2 procedures over 32 years. From his experience with his earlier headaches, he was able to recognise the difference between a normal headache and one from a fluid buildup. At age 32, Andrew again experienced a special sort of headaches, which he knows means a trip to the hospital. He was then living in Sydney. Regardless of the headaches, he went to work on his birthday, the 29th of April 2012. His headaches got much worse. On the 30th of April 2012, he took himself to the emergency department of the Prince of Wales Public Hospital in Sydney, together with his previous CT scans. He went by taxi, as there were no family members living in Sydney to assist. The next day, his shunt and tube were replaced by neurosurgery. After 32 years, the shunt had failed. This was Andrew's 3rd procedure. He was in hospital for 4 days and then home. His mother had flown from Melbourne to be with him for the operation and for his recovery. He was then off work for a month. He was getting better from the operation when the headaches resumed. He woke up with a bad headache one evening. He was disoriented, dizzy, and took 4 hours to get out of bed. He rang for an ambulance that took him back to the Prince of Wales Hospital. A CT scan and x-rays were done. The following day, another review was conducted. The distal end of the shunt was replaced due to a blockage. He was in hospital for another 4 days and discharged. A couple of days after he was discharged, the headaches again resumed. This time, whenever he was lying down for any period, the headaches would return, but subsided when he stood up. For 2 weeks, he tried to sleep in bed or on the couch with an elevated head as far as he could. This was not a viable outcome because he could not sleep, and when he did, he suffered from the special headaches. During a follow-up appointment with his neurosurgeon, he discussed his concerns. He phoned his neurosurgeon, Dr. Raj Reddy, and said that the outcome was not workable. It was thought that he may have been sleeping on the tube or crushing the tube by pinching it off somewhere. He had another CT scan with the Prince of Wales Private Hospital, but nothing was seen to be wrong. This was because he'd been seated in the upright position for 2 hours before the scan, which was, as a result, a waste of time. Following the problems which occurred after the 4th procedure, Andrew requested a second opinion. His surgeon was very supportive and did not disagree with his request. A leading Sydney neurosurgeon, Dr. Erica Jacobson, suggested a shunt function study to assist in a second opinion. Once this was done, the study confirmed that the shunt was blocking when Andrew was lying down, which is exactly what Andrew had said all along. This led to the decision to put the tube from the shunt into the pleural cavity. The fifth operation was conducted with the outlet of the tube placed into the pleural cavity. Andrew was in hospital for 5 days on this occasion and off work for 3 weeks. He was very fortunate as his employer, Telstra, had conditions of employment which permitted the sick leave to be accumulated. As he'd only used up a day or 2 of sick leave each year, he had 12 years of accumulated sick leave on which he was able to rely. His colleagues came to visit him in hospital and were supportive, even though they got extra work. His boss was very good about it, and pleasingly, he had no troubles at work. Andrew was fine after the 5th operation, apart from some short-term memory loss relating to days when the headaches had been severe. Andrew has had a total of 5 operations. The 1st, 2nd and 5th were very successful. The 3rd and 4th procedures were not so successful. Overall, he's been extremely lucky in his life. His Telstra job in mobile phones and communications is of great value to his father, who is ignorant in these things. He makes a wonderful community contribution to the Hydrocephalus Association and to Scouting, where he's a very experienced Scout leader. He is a computer expert who helps others a great deal. He's a living demonstration that you can have a very happy and normal life despite hydrocephalus. There is real hope and there is success. Others have suffered considerably more difficulties at work or have been subjected to medical examination and removed from the workplace. This was not the case at Telstra. His doctor's certificate, coupled with the big scar on his head, were very convincing to his employer and work colleagues. Fortunately, his neurosurgeon listened to what he said. He has had excellent surgeons and doctors, and Andrew is appreciative of their work. Both Dr. Raj Reddy and Dr. Erica Jacobson scratched their heads as to why the previous procedure had not worked, but they didn't permit this to get in the way of a proper diagnosis. Dr. Reddy was surprised at the result of the shunt study, which showed that what Andrew had said happened was exactly the case. Andrew's hydrocephalus does not worry him a lot. He works just as all other Telstra staff do. Unless a problem arises, it doesn't affect his work or daily life. Hydrocephalus worries him when there's a system failure. He doesn't remember everything that happens when this occurs and may be a bit hazy. Support from family is essential and vital to Andrew. His mother flew to Sydney 3 times in order to support him during the procedures undertaken there. Andrew's story is a positive story. He has not suffered a loss of independence. He's doing what he wants to do. He's successful at work, has a loving and supportive family and an ongoing career. Well, what have Chris and I learned from our experiences with Andrew's hydrocephalus? First, seek medical and neurosurgical help as soon as possible whenever headaches or problems occur. Second, seek a medical opinion from another neurosurgeon if this should be necessary or if problems seem insoluble. Next, listen to what your child is saying. They are likely to be right about the hydrocephalus they are experiencing. Immediate support by parents, family and friends is essential, particularly during periods of headaches, hospitalisation and recovery from procedures. Support for research is vital. Hydrocephalus will be capable of cure or prevention in most cases one day. It is a plumbing problem. It's just an obstruction in the circulation of fluid in the brain. With better scans, earlier detection and better techniques, outcomes will steadily improve across the community. And finally, a register of hospitals and outcomes is vital to identify and record where infection occurs. Over time, this will improve outcomes, reduce rates of infection provide informed choice and be a big saver of dollars. So thank you very much for listening to that. That's Andrew's story.